Everything has its own pros and cons. Similar thing stands true for the IoT environments also. IoT environments do have multiple characteristics, and similar with the multiple concerns are also present. So in this particular video, we are going to see that how the respective characteristics are going to influence the respective concerns. Hey there, my name is Rohit Kumar, and today we are going to discuss the IoT environment, the ecosystem, related characteristics, and the respective concerns. So let's start. So as you can see that with respect to any IoT environment, there are many different fronts like the web and mobile applications, then the cloud environment, the communication, the gateway, smart edges, then the IoT sensors or the actuators and the different data types. So coming to the characteristics, then with respect to each front, there are multiple characteristics. Like with respect to the web and the mobile applications, you are going to have some sort of closed or the open environments or the platforms. Then you are going to have the variable kind of policies, because with respect to a specific kind of application, you are going to have a specific kind of policies with respect to the access grant, etc. Similar way, the volume of data that you are handling in that particular session, that might also vary depending on the number of users, the type of users, etc. Now coming to the second point, that is the cloud. So in cloud, you might have a specific implementation of cloud depending on your connection and the requirement, like the public, private, or the hybrid. Additionally, what kind of different policies you have associated with the cloud access, that is also going to vary. Then coming to the communication, again, it will vary depending on the type of connection, like 2G, 3G, 4G, LTE, 5G, and in future, obviously 6G. Then you are going to have the digital subscriber line, fiber, then LP-WAN, then the Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, means the kind of wireless. Then if you are going to actively work in the field of IoT, then MQTT, then the IPv6, ZigBee, and related different technologies are going to be the part of the communication. Coming to the gateway and the smart edge devices, they are going to be the sum of the variable communication protocols, because again, what is the nature of the edge devices or the gateway devices, it will define the kind of protocols that you are going to use in that particular environment. Additionally, the time sensitive data analysis is also going to help you, because if you are interested in IoT ecosystem, then you are also interested in the kind of traffic that is going to be the part of it. And if you are going to have the numerous IoT devices, then heterogeneity will be part of the scene. And then you are going to have the kind of data analysis at some node, because what sort of data is being generated by a particular kind of IoT device, that is very much of concern, because some intruder might be the part of the ecosystem. And additionally, if you want to have the active monitoring onto the network, then obviously the packet filtering or the packet analysis is very much important. Then coming to the IoT sensors or the actuators. So as we always know that IoT devices are resource constrained, so the limited power, low bandwidth, these are going to be the part of the scene. Additionally, the constraint capabilities are always going to be there. Now coming to the data types, so the sensitive data, because again, it will depend on what sort of application you are using and what sort of data you are transmitting. So it might be in the form of audio, video, and might be transferring some location. For example, whenever you use some mobile application, you always turn on your location feature or not. It is up to you. But if you are turning on, then it might be a risk to you, because it might be being published to some third party, and third party is going to get your live location. So similar sort of personal information, etc. might be there. Additionally, there might be some technical data like the environmental measurements, uptime reports, etc. Means how long you work on a specific kind of platform, what sort of protocols you are using, which particular ports you are using, etc. Okay. Now, when we have understood these sort of IoT characteristics, then what are the related concerns? Because with respect to everything, there are some of the security concerns or the related weaknesses. So when you are using some sort of platform, then obviously some sort of coding and the related code handling mechanism will be there. So that is going to be the kind of weakness or the target of some adversary. Because if the adversary takes control of your coding mechanism or the editor, then obviously it may write some malicious code and may break down your system. Additionally, coming to the penetration, then if you have not gone for the right kind of penetration testing, then your code might have some sort of loopholes for adversaries, and again the attackers might take advantage of it. Coming to the right kind of authentication, so I always focus in my videos that if you are a simple naive user, then you don't need to think much about security. Just to follow the simple steps, like don't have the default passwords, don't have very simple passwords, so kindly update your systems or the mobile applications regularly. And these sort of things, if you perform, then it will be quite easy for you to be in a safe state. So if you are going to authenticate some third party, then do have the right kind of concerns towards it, because if the third party is not trusted, it might be a kind of serious problem for you. Coming to the second part, cloud. So cloud is again a kind of deployment environment. So if you are having a right kind of deployment, then what sort of coding that you are going to use means at what level you are going to use a particular service in cloud environment, then what sort of policies you have defined for that in terms of access. All these things will decide your security state. Then the insecure communication will be the right kind of thing if we discuss in terms of security, because with respect to communication, the only thing is that the communication is not secure. And for this, if the devices are resource constrained, obviously you cannot incorporate the heavy security protocols. So it is up to you that what is the trade-off at your side that you are going to have in your environment according to your requirement. Then coming to the edge or the gateway devices. So again, the policy management, because gateway and edge devices are going to be the bridge kind of thing between your edge device and the fog device or the edge and cloud device. So in this way, you need to have the right kind of policies at both sides, and then the denial of service might take place here because the edge devices are not so powerful. Additionally, if there are some back updates there, means you have not gone for the right kind of updates, that might be a problem for you. So you should always go for the right kind of purchase. Then the poor hardware device might be the reason, because the poor hardware design is going to reveal some of the secret information to the adversaries, and you'll not get aware of it soon, because at hardware level we usually don't check for the kind of loopholes. We always do perform the kind of monitoring at software level, and many times your security mechanism that is implemented at security level don't take into account the hardware kind of policies. Okay, then coming to the IoT sensors and actuators, if you have not designed the network properly, for example, at IoT devices, it might be the physical wiring or the physical connections. And if you have not done the right kind of designing, then there might be the related faults which might be uh, taken into control by the adversaries, because if the physical location is accessible from adversary side, then it is very easy from adversary point of view to take control of your network. Then the software and firmware implementation faults might be there. As I always tell, that firmware is nothing but a combination of software and hardware faults. So if you are going to have some of the firmware faults, then it might be an issue from both software and hardware side. Additionally, the inability to update, because if the adversary has taken the control of your devices, then it might be a situation that you are not into a position to update your hardware. Then with respect to your data, the users, the policy management, and the data storage, these are the sort of things that you should concern about. Most importantly, data storage, because when we are going to have the data kind of concerns, then big data comes into picture, because the IoT devices might be small in size, because they are sending very small chunks of data to the sink or the bridge or the gateway kind of node. But collectively, millions of IoT devices might be generating very large volume of data. So the proper management of this particular data, that's why the policy management comes into picture. Then with respect to what users you need to store the data, and with respect to what users you don't need to store the data, then where to store the data, which security mechanism to put onto, and what kind of locks you need to put into, then what sort of access policies you need to put into. All these things are the kind of related concerns and may become a weakness if you don't implement them properly. So that's it from my side. I think you have liked the kind of analysis I have presented over here. If you didn't like, please do criticize and let me know that what are the shortcomings of this particular video. Thanks for watching this particular video. Happy learning.